I'm in Franklin, Tennessee, and I am pretty big MAGA Maha mom. But kind of continuing on the Charlie Kirk thing, I watched the whole thing from start to finish yesterday, and I thought it was remarkable. I'm also an event planner, so I was extremely, extremely impressed with the production and all the things that they managed to pull off in less than a week. I can't believe that. Um, However, I was really praying that Trump would meet the moment as someone who has been a supporter of his for a very long time. And I just felt like he really failed to meet the moment. And I was
Yeah.
disappointed in that. And I really kind of wonder why Turning Point didn't choose to close with Erika
Yeah.
because she was so powerful and she really, as a Christian, just what a testament and a testimony to the gospel and what the Bible says. But my question for Amber and Steve is if you heard Marco Rubio and JD Vance speak, they met the moment much more, in my opinion. So I'm wondering if there are people like me who have sorry, I'm a little nervous,
No,
but
you're doing great. No reason to be nervous. Everything you said's been great so far. So just
I'm
keep
just
going.
wondering if there are people who are feeling like this isn't Trump's not representing us well. Like he needs to stop with the just I understand it's hard to get an 80 something year old man to think that oh he's going to change his ways and all of a sudden this might make him meet the moment. But I was just disappointed and I feel like I now am looking much more to Vance and Rubio as leaders of the party and hoping that some of the fringe things, that independence and that I'm sure, Steve feels on the Democratic side and has already talked about, um, maybe we can bury them a little bit once Trump's out of office. That's my hope. Like I reached
Yeah.
out to a liberal friend of mine yesterday before the service started and just said, this isn't a left or right thing. This is really like we're broken down as a nation and broken down in communication. And even with the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, it's like that's not what Charlie wanted. He didn't want people to be silenced and shut up and pushed out. And it's like, so I'm curious if you guys think if you heard Vance and Rubio speak, if you felt like that was a stronger example for the Republican Party in that moment where I think Trump really faltered and was rambling and going on for way too long about things that just didn't matter and I don't think paid excellent tribute to his friend.
Yeah. Natalie, really, really lovely. And you speak for tens of millions. I'm quite confident. Amber, thoughts on Natalie's concerns about the president's remarks and
Yeah,
anything
it
else?
will it should have been a moment where Trump stayed on script and he didn't do that. And I think one of the benefits and dangers of Trump is that he's not a perfect messenger. The benefits are that he speaks his mind sometimes in ways that really resonate with people who feel like the things that they really deeply believe aren't being presented by politicians or are being too carefully crafted. And the danger is that when you're speaking at a memorial service, you start talking about political things that you're doing in your administration that aren't relevant to the person. So I totally hear your concerns. And I did watch Vance's speech. I actually have Rubio's up in a tab on my browser because it's the next one I want to watch. And I was very, very impressed with JD Vance, both when he guest hosted the Charlie Kirk podcast shortly after his death, the day after, and in his speech given at that memorial service. I'm seeing from the commentary on Rubio's speech that he was basically able to explain Christianity in 90 seconds or less, which is
Yeah,
incredibly
he was great.
impressive. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching that. And yes, when it comes to like pinpoint messaging, I think those two are head and shoulders above pretty much anybody else in the Republican Party.
Steve.
Not my area of expertise, obviously, but I agree. Look, I said at the beginning, I just think Trump was jarring in his negativity. He was jarring in talking about hating. It's just so opposite of everything that Christian values teach people. And he is what he is, right? As someone said, he's a
Yeah.
79-year-old man, and that's what he is. And younger people had a different view, and I think it was very unfortunate. And as you pointed out early in the week, Mark, I mean, Bernie Sanders put out a video that met the moment, that talked about bringing the country together, that talked about how terrible this was. And Trump just can't seem to bring himself to bring people together. He seems to always want to figure out how do I divide people more. And that's, I just think, deeply unfortunate for a leader.
Yeah, Natalie, I'll say three quick things. And again, I loved everything you said. First of all, I believe in the awesome power of prayer. But if you'd asked me if you should have used some of your prayer time to pray that the president would say the right things, I would have told you don't bother.
I
There's no,
almost didn't bother,
there's
but I
no
just
there's no
decided
prayer
to.
no prayer powerful enough. Second is, in my career, I've learned how to read a room, and I can tell you far and away, the best reception, say all the speakers throughout the entire long event was when people talked about faith and the healing power of faith. And obviously, Erika, Kirk was the most a vivid example of that. But throughout, the best received parts of Secretary Rubio's speech were the last couple minutes where he talked about faith. So I thought that was very encouraging for the room. And then lastly, you just have to deal with the reality of Donald Trump's been doing this, not meeting the moment of so many people, including his own supporters, would like to meet. The entire decade he's been in public life, and he controls the Republican Party absolutely. So those who wish he might change need to send signals to him that he'd pay a price if he doesn't, and he never does pay a price for it. So he's no incentive to change. I do think he could change it, and we've seen him at some points in his career do it when he was pressured to do it, but nobody pressured him to do it, at least not sufficiently in the case of this event. Why he went last, the president always goes last. But I will say, history will record what I believe was evident in the room and what's evident in the news coverage, which is Erika's words reign supreme.
Yeah.
What she said, what she did is what people are taking away from that. And that will be cited and quoted and watched, I believe, forever. And I can barely remember what the president said. So I think maybe,
Well, it was too long, so.
yeah, also too long. Thank you for being part of Two Way. With that, quick word from one of our sponsors, Cozy Earth. Recommend right now that you go to cozyearth.com and take advantage of the ability to save 40% off the entire site, including the bedding with the 10-year warranty and a 100-day money-back guarantee, as well as the capacity to buy my favorite pants. Any of them, really. I've got a bunch of different pairs. The bamboo joggers are particularly popular, I know. But go right now to cozyearth.com, use the promo code Two-Way, save yourself 40% off the entire site, whatever you want to buy. The response I got, believe it or not, when I was in Arizona, a lot of people came up to me during and after the event and talked about Two-Way, but two men came up to me and said they loved the pants. And one of them, accompanied by his wife, and she said what spouses say all the time when people have bought the pants, which is, my husband looks so good in those pants. Cozy Earth, built for real life, made to keep up with yours. Cozy Earth, again, 40% off. Go to cozyearth.com. Use the code Two-Way.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.